Hello and welcome to Walpole United WFC. Hello and welcome to Walpole United with me, John Foster, MUFC. Cracking show lined up tonight. We get to have a bit of a go at the Arsenal fans. We get to have a bit of a go at the City fans. And yeah, look, I know a lot of people are saying it's 2 points dropped, and I get it when you're winning 1-0, a player up. Yeah, it is. It does feel a bit like a loss, but I think that's a credit to how far that we've come. That again, we can walk away from a top team and thinking, you know, we could have walked away with all 3 points there. So joining me tonight is Matt, Andrew, and John. How are we all?
Yeah, not bad.
Oh, thank you.
Not too bad.
Awesome. And John, my first time on the show with you. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to hear your thoughts on maybe how the season's going and how the season will finish up as well. So we'll get into a lot of detail there. But, yeah, just to start the show, basically, Matt, what are your thoughts on that one? That first question, the whole fan base is talking about it. Was it a point gained or 2 points dropped? And I don't want to put a spin of negative, because I think, personally, that was a good result for us. That doesn't mean that, you know, I'm not ambitious and I wanted to win and we should be winning, but, you know, you have to kind of judge it as over the course of the season. And to me, a point at Boreham Wood, it doesn't matter what happens throughout the game. To me, that's a good point.
Yeah, listen, I think everybody, like you said, has got a different take on it. I'm going to stick with what I tweeted, because Rob very kindly sent me a video at full time to tweet out. And I said, like, pre-match, you offered me a point. I'd have snapped your hand off at a point and been like, yeah, point minimum, perfect. But then I couldn't help but feel similar to what other people had said on Twitter. You know, it was too dropped. I mean, listen, it was a quality ball by Miedemar. And obviously we knew that Blackstenius was going to outpace Thor all day long, even when she was jogging. So I think just on that, it's difficult, isn't it? We've not lost, and it's 5 in the WSL unbeaten. But at the same time, it's like Everton away, the point cost us, Tottenham away, and Arsenal. And if you think that those points dropped, that's essentially 6 points dropped. You know, I think that would put us top of the league by a point had we won all of those. So it's difficult. I know football doesn't work like that. And in hindsight, we can all sit and say, you know, if we won every game, we'd be top or whatever. But I just think that, yeah, I mean, listen, they only had 10 for a little while, didn't they? I think everyone's kind of saying, oh, they had 10 and using that as the thing. I think it's not like it was 10 for, say, 60, 70 minutes. You know, it was sort of towards the end. So I can see everybody's points of view, and it is frustrating, but it does, I know we'll get into it fully, but it does show how far we've come. To be disappointed to be drawing with top of the league shows that there's improvement from sort of the first few seasons in the WSL under Casey.
Yeah, and I just left that comment on screen there from TJ about to think how we would have reacted a point off Arsenal back in September, October.
Yeah,
you know, there's always two ways to look at it. You could always turn around and say, well, it's not September, October now. But on the flip side to that, you know, I always try to look at the bigger picture. And if we draw against the big three and win the rest, you know, the chances are we'll finish above them. So for me, I see that as a positive result. I do. But I would back it up by saying that it's only a positive result if we get another positive result against City, or else all the hard work that we've done here would kind of be outweighed at City. Andrew, welcome to the show, mate. You was at the game itself. You know, when the final whistle blew, was you kind of deflated, or was you kind of happy? Or obviously not happy that we've just drew after winning, but were you happy overall?
I'd say a little bit disappointing, because I think it felt like it was in our hands. So it's like the Arsenal fans, we could see them all cheering. And it was a fan that came past us where we were standing, going 1-1. I was like, you're celebrating the fact that you get in a draw. Like, there's all of us. Well, we had the chance to take all 3 points. I mean, we started really well, and so we was on the front foot. We're trying to get up, push Arsenal back, and the same. We got the early goal through Russo, which was a brilliant header from her as well, and just felt like we should have pressed home the advantage in the first half. And I felt like second half it was just becoming a bit scrappy. It was like not much we weren't having as much control, and Arsenal were trying to fight back and get back into the game. And So their goal, it was just a moment of lapsed concentration from us, and Maria just couldn't, like, she managed to catch up, but just didn't get there to make the tackle. I mean, Mary did get a hand to the ball, but it just literally the power of the shot just meant it went past. But I've also got to praise Mary as well, because some of the saves she pulled off were Arsenal could have scored more than just the one. But say, like the United Twitter account, they were disappointed. But I mean, before the game, I think I would have taken the point, but because after the loss against Chelsea, we needed to bounce back, and I thought a draw would have been okay. But I'm just thinking, Tooney, because we had a great view where Tooney just got through and was like, I just thought she's going to slot this home. It's 2-0, game over, and then it's like 3 points in the bag, and then we're on the heels of Arsenal, maybe possibly Chelsea too. And also that red card was like, just like it could have easily broken. Was it Bassio's leg? I was like, I know everything looks worse to slow down, but it just could have been easily a leg breaker. So it was right that the Arsenal player got sent off for that.
I just left that comment on screen by TJ again. Yeah, that's mine. I'm surprised you could hear me because it only goes off for like a split second every now and again. So I'm sorry about that. I didn't realise it was so noticeable. Sometimes it's been going on like that for like 2 or 3 days, but I just forget about it for hours at a time, and then all of a sudden it just goes off and I can hear it. Just sticking with yourself, Andrew, on that one. We'll break the game down in a bit more detail shortly. I put a tweet out during the match. I think it might have been in half time-ish. Where I think Man United Twitter account said, "What do you think of that first performance?" or something, first half performance. Lines, and I basically come out and said, "Well, I think that there's only Chelsea that's much better than us now. We've already caught City, and that we're catching Arsenal." And I wasn't basing that on just points throughout the season or where we are actually in the league. I was kind of talking about as a team there. We can't talk about the history, of course, because our history is nowhere near the others because we've only just recently reformed. But are you just thinking about that, Andrew? Are you thinking that, okay, well, we've actually caught City now and we're on the way to Arsenal, or are we getting ahead of ourselves, or have we even caught Arsenal now? You know, we just took 4 points out of the possible 6 away from them in the last couple of 3 weeks. Where do you think we are in regards to that top 3, top 4 now?
I think we're there with all of them now. I think Skinner said it after the game. The mentality of the players is like, I think probably last season under Casey, it's getting over the line now. I think those players have say the mentality is about we're gonna push on, and I just think we're definitely catching up to Arsenal now. Chelsea probably just a little bit away, given like the Wednesday night. Mm-hmm. Chelsea showed their class, especially with that second goal with Harder. It was like literally leaving Mannion on the floor. It was just like, could anybody have stopped Pernilla Harder? I don't think so. Would have loved to see Diane Caldwell, see what she would have done. Because I mean, there was a point in the game against Arsenal. She literally was just right up close against Miedema, just wasn't going to let her anywhere near the box. And so I think with Caldwell, she's the type of defender that just would get stuck in and just no matter what. So. But yeah, in terms of the team, I think there's been big progress. I think at the start, I think they were just trying to get used to the ideas put out by Skinner and the tactics. And I think a while back we was like questioning, well, where's this going? But it just seems to be like from like November onwards, and then towards Christmas, and then after Christmas, it's all seemed to be clicking in place. Okay, there's probably going to be maybe a few more bumps in the road, but it's just learning from those bumps and then just going again on that score.
100%, yeah. Stuart says Skinner should put on Balvisa in midfield to get over the line. Yeah, there was a few people talking about the substitutions, but yeah, I mean, you can always look back and say we should have done this, we should have done that, but you never know. We could have took that risk and made a substitution and got worse. So yeah, obviously, that's what I always think about substitutions. You just never really know, unless if it is tiredness or if players are on yellow. I can understand you have to make the sub there, but I think we'll get into that. We'll get into that for the show. John, how you doing, mate? You okay?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
No, great. For those of you who haven't seen John on the show before, he's been attending games this season. This is his first season watching the women's team, and he's bought a season ticket right away. And it's great to have you at the ground, really full of energy and positivity as well. Obviously, come from the men's side as well. So Just because you're new to the women's team doesn't mean that you're new to Manchester United. Far from it. In fact, I know some of the history that you give me. I'm like, how on earth can you remember that, John? But it's it's great to see. It's great to see.
Yeah.
Just a slightly different question for you. This is just for my own benefit, but I'm sure people in the comments will look forward to your answer. Just what are your thoughts actually on the women's team in general? So you obviously come from the men's game. You might have heard a little bit about them over the last 3 seasons, maybe not too much, but whatever, something's took over you this season, and obviously you're going home and away now as well on the buses and everything that we set up on the Barmy Army buses. So just what are your thoughts with the women's team at the moment?
Oh, I think I've really enjoyed watching the women play this season. I think I said on the Friday forum, I think it was the week before last, and I said they understand what it means to play for Manchester United. You look how bad the men have been this season. I think the women's team have been complete opposite. They play for each other. The atmosphere and everything has been incredible. I enjoy going to games, all the singing, and you feel like a real connection between the fans and the players, and you can go up and talk to them at the end of the game, that kind of thing. But I mean, my first game was the derby back in October. It was just a one-off ticket. I just thought, I think the men's team weren't playing that weekend, so I thought, well, I'll go and watch it and enjoy the atmosphere. And then I've been watching on TV throughout the season on Sky or BBC, and in December I decided to buy a season ticket, and my love for the team has grown massively. I really love going to the games. I've been on the last two, not the Chelsea game, but the Bridgewater and the Arsenal game. I just love the atmosphere in it. It's allowed me, because I've never been able to see the men play away from home, and that the women's team has given me an opportunity to do it because tickets are cheap, and you enjoy the atmosphere. We sing songs that don't have swear words in them, that kind of thing, and I just think it's been a wonderful experience from the women's team, and they work so hard for each other, and I just think that the team's just going from strength to strength, and hopefully it'll lead to a happy outcome come the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I will just jump on that. Anyone who just wants to get to a football game when the men's team aren't playing, just turn up at Lee Sports Village. It's only 20 minutes from Manchester. If you're used to driving anyway, 20 minutes in the car isn't too much. So I appreciate it's public transport. We know it's difficult to get here, but if you do drive or can get a lift here or want to lift here, just put the word out, and we might be able to sort something out. Back to the game anyway. Craney, do you want to start off with that question from the panel for the panel first before we get into it? Let me put it on screen. That's the one, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Question about expectations against City. I think Hemp is the one that sticks out for me. I mean, I watched the Chelsea Man City game yesterday, and I think everything that City tried to create was pretty much through her. What was interesting was Jess Carter, thinking of owner. Jess Carter had the beating of her every single time, pretty much, and then they swapped her over, which I thought was really interesting for her to cut inside. So, yeah, I mean, listen, if we put owner on her to stop her and keep her quiet, do we win the game? I'd love to say yeah. I think we stand a very good chance if we keep Hemp quiet. That said, if she swaps wings, it's down to Hannah. So, listen, I'm happy with either fullback. Smithy, if she plays, I don't know. Yeah. I would assume, like I say, I'm assuming like everybody else, it's going to be Hannah and Ona. But yeah, I think keep Hemp quiet should be the game plan, and then go from there. There's not really too many off the top of my head I can think that would sort of bother us more than Hemp. So yeah, for that, to answer the question, I think yeah, keep Hemp quiet, and we always stand a better chance than we would do if she's running riot.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the game then, Matt. Starting lineup, we've got to see Senior start. Obviously, Diane started with Millie being out, and Mannion, of course. What were your thoughts when you saw that starting lineup? Did you think that was strong? There's definitely a strong front four, and we'll get into maybe our strongest 11 throughout the show as well. but it looks fairly strong.
Yeah, I think it was probably as good as we could have got. I think bearing in mind, obviously, I know we're going to get into subs and that, but people run about substitutions. You know, we've come off, let's not forget, okay, Bridgewater, we went strong, but it was a heavy pitch.
Mm.
You know, I'm pretty sure that'll take it out of your legs. For those of us that have played football on the woeful sort of grassroots pitches, that was kind of similar. And trust me, when you walk off a bog like that, the last thing you want to do is go out another Wednesday and a Saturday as well. So I think 3 games in a week is going to catch up. You know, I've seen people say, well, Jackie could have started. Potentially, yeah, but again, we're still managing her. So I think for me, looking at it overall, you know, obviously, like you said, with Mannion being out, that sort of give Diane an opportunity. Obviously, we had our 2 strongest fullbacks. So, yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of call for Risa, Risa as well. But again, she came on at Bridgewater. She played and scored midweek. So it's one of them. You're trying to balance 3 games in a week, plus, you know, a big game coming up in the league against City. So yeah, I don't think there's too many. Can't be really loads of complaints, or not from me anyway, from the starting 11.
Yeah, and just your thoughts on the starting 11, maybe from the defence side of things. And Kirsty Smith has had a real good season for us. A lot of the fans are saying how much she's progressed from season 1. Was there a chance that maybe she could have played for you here, or is it just a case of rotation, or would you like to see more of Kirsty play?
I think it was more a case of rotations, like 3 games in a week. It's like, what can you say? Like, you wouldn't see most players play 3 games in a week. You know, they might be on the bench for 1 game and then like come on during a game. But yeah, it's like in terms of the defense, I thought, because I was a bit surprised. Well, where's Mannion? I was like, and then obviously said, yeah, fluid on her knee, so she couldn't play. So I don't know whether that was because of that when she was trying to stop the Pernilla Harder goal. Literally, she was twisting and turning. I thought, when I saw her knee, I was like thinking, that's not good on your knees. But no, I think if Mannion had been fit, I don't know whether it'd been Mannion and Caldwell, because I think Caldwell was like matched up to, well, in terms of the height wise, she was virtually the same height as Miedemeier. So it would have been interesting if Mannion had been fit. It might have been Mannion and Caldwell. But in terms of like the same, Maria, you see after the game, she was a bit upset because obviously she tried to get back and didn't get quite there in time to stop the shot. But overall, Maria did have a good game as well. Just that moment where Arsenal just punished us. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Kirsty Smith's, I say, well, there's still plenty more games for her to get a chance. And I say it's all about rotation at the minute, because I think the only way, I think if we're not going to get Champions League, is we suddenly hit a really bad run of form, or we get injuries to a number of key players, and we just like they're having to play like even more. A lot of the players having to play more games on the bounce as well. So, but yeah, we can keep everyone fit, and then it's that chance from Skinner to just keep rotating, keeping the squad all fresh as well. And then when the subs are brought on, they can make an impact and say get goals for us too.
We did have a great subs bench, in my opinion. If you talk about game changes with Jackie on the bench, Belvisa, Hansen, Martha Thomas, Fuso, you know, that is a good strong bench, in my opinion. You know, you got a lot of variety there as well. John, I just want to know a little bit about the atmosphere. Obviously, you was there. People in the comments may not have been able to experience it on the TVs, but with Sinja getting her first bit of game time and, you know, from the start as well, what was the crowd like when she came out onto the pitch, or maybe a first touch, or, you know, something like that? I'm sure it was rocking.
Oh yeah, it was. The atmosphere was terrific. As you can imagine, while Army always get behind the players and everything. So yeah, to see Sinye and Diane get the first outing from the start was positive, and you know, Caldwell obviously had a brilliant game, and Sinye, she fought quite well. Obviously, she didn't have many chances or anything, but she put herself about. I thought she was quite impressive in the first half. I thought she, a lot of the time, she was holding on to ball game plays to interlink, and that I think maybe in the second half she maybe didn't. I think the general team was quite tired and maybe quite leggy after 3 matches in 6 days away from home, and you think of all the travel and all that. But I think in regards to the whole general game, it's disappointing that we didn't hold on to lead. I'm sure we'll mention the Tooney chance, which was a big moment, but we would have taken a draw from the start probably, and if we had won, I mean, no one's mentioning if we had beaten Arsenal, we would have been two points behind them, I think, we could have potentially dragged them into the top 3 race potentially if we had won, and maybe if we beat City and they lose to Chelsea, that might still happen this weekend. So they're not in great form, Arsenal, and I think to go to Arsenal twice in 3 weeks and not lose either time shows that we are building, and the fact that we were happy with the draw, but we finished the game a bit disappointed that we didn't hang on. It shows that we are improving. I do think maybe come next season that we'll probably make sure if we're in that position again, we make sure that we see the game out. But I think the support for the players, in particular the new ones on Saturday, was brilliant, and we sung songs throughout and everything. So it's just it was a brilliant experience.
A couple of positive comments in the comments as well from Lansel regarding Sinew as well. As Stuart says, I can't wait for Sinew to score her first goal. It will be. I think she could go on a massive run as well, because she does have that quality. Someone who did start, obviously we were talking about game changes earlier, Matt, was our captain Katie, on a good bit of form at the moment with all the assists that she's getting. Got another one on Saturday as well. It's nice to see that it's actually performing at a very high level at the moment. What are your thoughts on the last couple of 3 months? Is it down to other players coming in and around her, which has helped her play in a slightly different position? Is it because the whole team is performing well, which obviously makes everyone perform better? What's your thoughts on Katie's performance in the last couple of months?
Yeah, I think to me it's similar to what you said about her role changing, because there's a lot of talk about, put a defensive mid. It just doesn't benefit her. And I think we've seen a better Katie because we've had Hayley Ladd in the team, which sort of answers the second part of your question about other people sort of coming in. But I think when Ladd's doing the running and the dirty work, it allows her to sort of push forward and sort of play to her strengths in a way. And like you said, an assist at the weekend, I think that takes her up to 6 now. I think last couple of months, it's looked a lot better than it was. I think there's still some bits that she can work on, but, I suppose at the minute, and listen, I'll put my hands up and say I've been quite critical of her. But that's only because, at times when you expect certain standards and what somebody's capable of and they don't show it, for me personally, it's frustrating. Like, what a player can do. I'd seen her at Liverpool, I'd seen her out in Juventus. So, again, you can see the capability. It's just about finding, maybe it's a confidence thing, I don't know, but finding that form at least and replicating that. But I do think that when we don't play her as a holding midfielder, either alongside Hayley or a double pivot, whatever people want to call it, I do think that does make a heck of a difference. And it's only since we've moved away from that she's kind of, stepped up, shall we say.
Yeah, I was going to just say on Zellem, well, she's like playing the playmaker role. She's looking to dictate the pace of the game and then provide the team with that positive forward movement. So it's like trying to get possession back from the opposition and then using her passing or dribbling to get, her and the teammates into more dangerous positions and driving the team forward. I mean, so she's got good ball retention skills and can dribble and move out of pressing situations really well. And I think she's part of the core of United and most important and one of the influential players as well. So I mean, her and Hayley Ladd are working really well together, and alongside when Beau Reese is there and Jackie as well. So it's just finding that consistency, I think, with the behind as well, the defense as well. So because Zellem and Ladd can hold the midfield together, but the defense can also, whether it's going to be Millie Turner and Mannion when they're back, or whether it's going to be Colwell or Maria as well. It depends who Skinner's going to, well, when they're all back, who he's going to decide to go forward with. But I just think with Zellum, she's obviously our captain and one of the important players, but I just think at the beginning of the season, I don't know whether, like most of the team, she was just getting used to Skinner's ideas and, you know, his tactics. And like at some points, it's like a few points like in games, like the passing wasn't quite there, or it'd be like she put a ball in and it's like it's too long, or it doesn't get to the player. So I think she has kicked on since like the end of November as well. So, but yeah, she's definitely one of the important players that plays a major role in this team as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, just while I talk about that midfield, and maybe we can do like a starting 11 or our strongest starting 11 towards the end of the show as well, because I think we might have seen possibly it against Arsenal. Just sticking with yourself there, Andrew. Obviously, we know that we've got 7 strong midfielders now, but we'll go with 6 because we haven't seen much of obviously the new signings just yet. But what we have seen is Russo, Brun, Tooney and Galton up front, that forward 4 now. You know Tooney should be playing every time that she's fit. So all of a sudden now you've got, instead of having 6 midfielders fitting into 3 roles, you've got 6 or 7 players fitted into 2, because you can't really drop Russo, Sinja, Galton or Tooney. Maybe you can, and we will see that. But you've only got 2 midfield slots to play for there, because Tooney's got to get in there. No one will want to see Russo or Sinja dropped. So long as Galton's performing, she's going to be your best left winger that we've got. So now, instead of having 3 positions in midfield to choose from, you've only got 2. You know, it's a great position to be in, but there's always going to be 2 or 3 players unhappy, 2 or 3 sets of fans in the fan base unhappy. Just what's your thoughts on that, Andrew?
As I say, like you said, it's good to have those options, and it gives Skinner a choice. It's like I'm like thinking, where, like with Russo, where's her position? Is it out on the wing where she can make those runs in, or is it she better where Brun is like up top? Can they actually be combined together? So 2 up top and then like 2 Ella 2 behind. So it's who you do drop. I just think Zellum and Ladd are just working so well together, but then you just feel bad for leaving Boarisa and Jackie out as well. It's just, where do you fit them in? It's just like,
that's the thing. So long as they're always on form, you can just keep on rotating them. No one's on bad form at the moment, so it doesn't matter who you bring in. Thankfully, they're all playing well, aren't they? You know, like as you just say, Boarisa's on good form, so hopefully, you know, she can come back in and, you know, keep on playing well. Fuso is in the comments; she can come in. So I think that is a good thing. We haven't got many players on the bench where we're thinking, oh, they're not on good form. So I think it's strong. I think it's good, so long as they've got that chemistry together, which at the moment they are, because they're doing really well. I think it's a great position to be in. Skinner just needs to manage it by bringing players in and out, keeping people fresh, keeping people sharp. I think it's a good position. I really do.
I was going to say, well, you could have Brun and Russo up top, and then I said 2 behind, but then you could have like sort of a midfield 3, so Ladd in the middle, and then Zellum to the right and Galton to the left. So that might be a way to get them together. But saying, then you could just rotate with Boarisa and Jackie on in those left and right positions.
It's great to see everyone fighting it out, because no matter who we plays at the moment, they're all good. They're all good. Goalkeepers, John. Mary Earps kept us in that game, kept us in the Champions League race, definitely. I think this has been Mary's best season by far. I haven't heard any grumbles about her. You know, in the old days, we always used to come on here and say, oh, yeah, she's a great shot stopper, but this or but that. I think this season we've just seen a very well concentrated, also seems relaxed in a role as well, type of player. And John, what are your thoughts on them saves that she made to keep us in the game?
Yeah, they were brilliant saves, and you know, I think ones I remember in particular, I think didn't she save the shot the crossbar in the first half? I couldn't quite see it RM, but think she got a hand on it. And I think also the save that she made, because obviously after 58 minutes we're doing the applause for the Busby Babes, and we're doing stand up the Busby Babes, and then she's made a brilliant save right in the middle of it. And while we were still singing about the Busby Babes, it's like, well, to wait 30 seconds, say, oh, brilliant save, that kind of thing. So, but no, she's a brilliant goalkeeper, and excellent shot stopper. But I also think that I was impressed by her coming off the line work as well. She leaves a degree of stability in the defence and that, and she's outstanding keeper. For me, it was, debate whether she should have played against Chelsea. With hindsight, she probably should have done, and I don't know, Bagley did well previous games, but unfortunately that decision cost us the game potentially. But I think Mary's superb goalkeeper, and I've been very impressed with her, like a good few of her players. I think since December onwards we've been defensively sound. I think her and Mannion and Millie Turner and people like that, I think it helps have a stable goalkeeper and a stable backline, and I think, well, she's rightfully England number one in my opinion. So
yeah, I was going to just say on her, I just think she's just one of the best goalkeepers in the WSL, if not the best. I'm just thinking the way she has been this season. I just think her presence inside the 6-yard box on Saturday, she was like telling where the players, this is where you got to stand on the corner. So the ball comes in, I want you to push out, and the ball's coming over the top, I'll come for it. So I'm like, plus as John said, great shot stopper as well. But I just think yes, definitely not. I know she's got 1 more year left with us after. Well, her contract has 1 more year. I'm hoping that's one of the contract renewals we get tied down, because she's key to our side. I think we can keep her. I think we can push on it even more. I just think she gives that assurance. I mean, like, even when United are on the attack and we're in the opposition half, she's, I'd say, virtually just, well, more towards the halfway line. You could just hear her shouting like where players should be as well. And even like when she wasn't playing against Chelsea or the Arsenal game in the Conti Cup, I just remember seeing I think the ball had gone out, and she was I can't remember who she was talking to one of her teammates, like giving instructions. And I just thought, one day I can see you coaching for United, maybe even being our manager, but that's like, well, in the distance somewhere. So I could just see Mary, if she did want to go in coaching, I would definitely have her at United. And if in the future, if she wanted to be our manager, well, when Skinner's won everything for us as well, Mary might be able to carry that on as well if she wanted to. So yeah, I can only say good things about Mary. And also, I remember her doing an interview. I think this was like a couple of months back, and she's saying she's been messaging the men's David De Gea as well. So sending messages, and no, De Gea, I think he put up on Instagram. He was watching the game Saturday as well, and he responded to about that save she made from Miedemine. Just said like that save was just like,
yeah.
I think he used I think it was the fire emoji. It was like praise from the men's side as well. I'd like to see it. Like, I know at the moment the men's and the women's are at Carrington, but they can't say interacting much because of COVID and everything. But I like at some point where, I don't know, maybe once a month the men's and the women's can get together and they can like exchange like tactics, training methods as well. So it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, 100%. Matt, I know you spoke a bit about Mary on your Saturday show, but just that comment by John on the screen where he said about we've got less, we've conceded less than set pieces now, and that is noticeably different, isn't it? You know, we haven't, like last season was like, oh, set piece again. You know, whereas this year it does look like that we've tightened up a little bit. We've ironed out a lot of individual errors. I know we still get them every now and again, but not as often. Do you reckon that's down to Mary and her organisation skills?
I'd say so, yeah. I think it was evident last year during lockdown that you could hear her on the telly or the FA player that she was vocal and commanding, which is what you want anyway from a goalkeeper. I think you can't have a goalkeeper that stood there sort of quietly or not as sort of dominant. But I think, yeah, I mean, without having sort of stats to hand on what we have conceded from set pieces this year, it does seem noticeably less. Again, whether that's down to her, whether that's down to a couple of different players playing that we didn't have last year, I don't know. But yeah, listen, I've always backed Mary. I've never had an issue with Mary. I know other people have, and Slater. And even at the start of this year, actually, she was getting slated for things. You know, I think to Everton one where she actually had the ball in two hands. She was chucked pelters at the Chelsea game when we lost 6-1. And I don't think that was really her fault either on many of them, from what I recall. But no, listen, happy enough with her. I think she's a quality keeper, and long may it continue. I just hope, like as mentioned, we tie her down.
We said at the start of the season that goalkeeping position was potentially up for grabs. We saw Bagley have a bit of pre-season game as well, a few pre-season games, and you must be doing something right in training to get that first choice spot. And then obviously she's not let it go throughout the whole season, and I'm sure she'll continue. It's really great to see, it really is. Let's talk a little bit about the goal then, Matt. So it looked very, very similar to the previous goal we scored against Arsenal as well. Free kick came in, Russo header. Speak to us about Russo, Matt, about how powerful she is, whether it be in the air, whether it be driving at players. Her power in the shots are amazing. We're there on the warm-ups, right behind the goal where she's blasting the footballs. If them footballs, it doesn't on the face, mate, we're going down. She's got so much power in the shots. It's we're laughing because it was really close to happening, by the way. It's great for Russo, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, I think the lesson to learn here, John, is don't go right behind the goal just in case she does miss. On the practicing warm-up ones, just don't be in the way. But no, I said, listen, when she signed, I posted, it was a YouTube clip of a couple of highlights from sort of out in America and for England. And if you watch them all, I don't recall one goal being scored in the box. They're all just hammered from 20, 30 yards and so on. But yeah, listen, she's always had that physical presence. She's quite tall for a WSL striker. There's a lot of sort of like, I'm thinking sort of your Frank Kirby's at like 5'2", 5'3". Leslie's quite up there and she's very physical, very underrated. I think if people watch, obviously she brings goals and, and a few assists, but if people watch the work she gets through and the tracking back and the holding up play and the physical battles, she's probably up there with some of the best in terms of, the league. So yeah, listen, I don't need to hype her any more than I do weekly anyway, but I just think, she's still young. She's got a lot to learn. She probably, if we're going to be super critical, could be a little bit better with a weaker foot, but listen, it doesn't matter because she's on now 8 goals, I think, this season and 3 assists, something like that. Might be wrong with the assists, but definitely 8th goal came on Saturday. So look, it's exactly what we needed. It was a shame last year she got injured, and I think that massively affected us. I do think if we had her last year, we would have probably made that top 3, but quality player. I just hope now we can put Bruin alongside her rather than sort of behind her or one of them out wide. I think as a pair that could be, potentially workable. I think, Senior's work rate on Saturday, okay, she didn't get a goal, but a work rate and a willingness was there and the movement was good enough. So that's a partnership to watch for me. But another one where I'm going to say, yeah, we need to sort out contracts. But can't speak highly enough of Leicester. She's quality player.
I agree. I mean, she came to us, obviously she's English, she's young. It's something that we needed. We needed that kind of position last year. So we knew obviously Tobin and Christian wasn't going to stay. It was a great signing. It really was. And it looks like obviously she settled in really well as well. And it's going really well. Matt, what do you think about chances for England? Obviously, you can talk about the future. Yeah, she's the future of England. But how about right now? I mean, United are top 3. She's one of our leading goal scorers. Got a great partnership with Tooney, who, is playing in the starting 11 as well. Could you see her maybe like sneaking into the starting 11 for England as well?
Oh, I think sneaking in's a bit harsh, John. I'm going to pull you on that one. I'm going to agree with the other John now. No, I'm joking. I'd agreed with him anyway. I think, has to start for me. I think, listen, Ellen White is a very good player and she's been great for England over the years. I just question now if she's maybe slowing down a little. And again, people might think that's harsh, but I just look at her form for City this year. She's been in and out the side. I don't even think that she's, sort of any worse. Well, she's not She's not worse than Bunny Shaw. She's better than Bunny Shaw, who seems to be getting more chances for City. Obviously, City have got Hemp and Jess Parks doing all right as well. So, but yeah, I think in terms of the national side for me, she has to be starting there. You know, if we can get her in and Tooney and Frank Kirby and Hemp and somehow fit them all in whatever formation Serena wants to play, then let's do it. But yeah, I think she has to be for me now. I can't really see any other number 9s that offer what she does, just in terms of, like I say, a hold-up play, a play in the air. She can head a ball pretty well. You know, she got quickest hat-trick last time out against Latvia. So, yeah, she has to be. I know there's people there, I'm just reading now, people calling for Mead as well, but I just think for me, Les is a better player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. John, just your thoughts on Russo this season? You know, for me, as soon as she picks up the ball, I just know that something's going to happen. You know, even if it's got a back to goal, you know, she can do a turn or she can lay it off, or if she's out wide, she's driving her players. If she's in the box, you know that she's going to fight for it and get a shot away. What are your thoughts on her this season?
Oh yeah, she's been brilliant this season. She could be a contender for arguably our player of the season, although there's quite a couple of contenders for that. And you know, I go back to my first game against City, and it was that goal that put us 2-1 up, where she managed to scramble the ball away from the defender and managed by the shot to bottom corner. And, you know, that Spurs goal back in October, I think, or November. That was one of the goals of the season. You know, she's clearly talented, and you know, to score 2 headers at Arsenal in 3 weeks, you know, it's she offers something to us that nobody else can offer, and you know, I'm a massive fan of hers, and I think her coming on the right, her playing on the right at times, I think she's a different kind of threat on the right. I think if I was to be slightly critical, I think she possibly could be scoring a bit more, if anything. But I think, but her overall game, she's a brilliant player, and you know, in terms of our future, I think she's very important in terms of us going forward. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of hers.
Yeah, I think everybody. I don't think I've heard one person at all just say, "Oh yeah, let's drop Russo," unless if it's purely just for resting them. Andrew, so if you was the Man United manager right now, if you were Skinner with our accents, you know, not a million miles away, he's got a posher accent than us, so he's from the nicer area of Birmingham. He's on the east side of Birmingham. We're on the west side of Birmingham, in the Black Country. Now, if you was Skinner, Andrew, how would you kind of manage this situation then there with all these star strikers? And obviously, I want us to get into like our strongest 11 as well in this conversation. Matt's kind of hinted like play 2 of them or 2 up top or whatever. How would you kind of manage it? It doesn't have to be like every game, but would you like play Russo every now and again? Would you play sometimes out wide, sometimes up top? How would you kind of manage it? Because it's going to be hard.
That's what it's like. Which is our best position, say as the forward or out wide? I think that has got to be. I think going forward into the next season, we've got to narrow it right down. This is your position. I think Russo is definitely an all-round number 9, and then she's got enormous talent, and she's capable of achieving so much in the years to come. I mean, she's so powerful in and running with and without the ball, holding up the ball as well, and her vision to bring others into play. I mean, her and Tooney are just linking up so well, and also, as we all know, she possesses such a fierce and lethal shot. You just every time she just shoots the ball, you're thinking, or if it's going to go wide of the goal and come towards us, you want to just duck out of the way because you know it's going to hurt if you get smacked by one of the ball that she's hit. But and also in terms of an England career as well, I think she does. I think she represents the long-term future as well, and has the potential to lead England for like another decade. Well, for the next decade. And I think Ellen White, I think she's 32 or 33, but I think Russo will. I think she will be in the England squad, but I think Ellen White will probably get the nod to like lead on. But it's good that Russo is there. She'll be providing that depth of the squad. But in terms of United, I think I'd like to see her like up top. So I think she can get a lot more goals as well, and her link up with Tooney as well. I just think they just bounce off each other, so they're going to just work for each other, and I can just see them two just like assisting goals, just going well from hopefully towards as we head towards the end of this season, and seasons beyond too as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get into the starting 11 then. So I think what's quite evident this season is that we don't actually have a strongest 11, and I don't think that's a negative thing, by the way. I think Skinner said at the very start when he came in, he'll look at the opposition, he'll look at what's a good way to beat the opposition. I think it all depends on who's on form and also the relationships to build on the pitch. So I don't think anything that we'll choose today will kind of it's not just a one-off game. I think there's just different ways you can looking at it. But let's just go around the room a little bit with all the quality players that we've got at the moment and how they're on form, or maybe not on form if they haven't been playing. Let's just have a little think about how we would approach maybe a one-off cup final game if there was one next week. So I'll make a start. Obviously, Earp's in goal. It's a tough one at the back four, purely because Kirsty's played a lot better than I thought she was going to, really. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. We know what her level is, but she seems to be really pushing Hannah. Maybe it's the other way around now. Maybe Hannah's pushing Kirsty at times as well. So I don't think that's an easy one. So I think as things stand up, probably play Kirsty at the moment. If I'm just basing it on form. Honor on the other side, Mannion. And this is a tough one for me. If Millie was fit, I'll play Millie. I'd like to see more of Diane, just to see what we're going to get from her. I know she's experienced. I love that interview, by the way. If you haven't seen that interview on the Twitter that's come up today, it's a 5-minute interview with Diane. I just love listening to her speak. I really do. So yeah, I'll probably play Diane at the moment, if that was possible, obviously. Midfield 3 might shock a few people, but I'll probably go with what we started against Arsenal. I'll probably go with Lads as your holding, Tooney as your centre attacking midfielder, and just because Kate is in form, Jackie hasn't had much game time. Bowish, you could argue, yes, definitely. That wouldn't bother me. I said they're over the same position. But I think at the moment I would go with Katie just because I think it's working. She's played a lot of games this season and we're having a good season. So I'm going to go with Katie on this one. And then the front three of Galton one side, Lucy on the other, and Sinya up front. How would you approach it, John? Let's start off with yourself first. What would be your strongest 11 at the moment?
Yeah, it's difficult because it means dropping some players who will probably deserve a chance. Obviously, the standout has to be Earps as goalkeeper. For me, the back four will be Ona, Mannion, Turner, and Blundell. Midfield, I'll go slightly different. I'll probably go Zellum, Lad, and Belrisa. And my front three will be Tooney, Russo, and because I haven't seen much of Sinya yet, I'll probably go Goldson, but maybe the more I see of Sinya, I might change my mind in 2-3 weeks, but I think that's the trust 11 I know, so I'll probably go with that 11.
Go on, Andy.
Definitely Mary Earps in goal. The back line, definitely Honor right back. Mannion, probably Millie Turner, but if she wasn't to be fit, then I'd like to see Diane in there because I think she'd give that assurance as well. Left back, it's because you said Kirsty Smith. I'm like, she's had some good games too, and I'm like,
that's a shock for me. I could have quite easily said Hannah. I think if we put a poll out, I think a lot of people would go with Hannah. But I just want to give Kirsty a bit of a shout out because I think she deserves that opportunity. I do.
Because like Hannah likes to get forwards when you can see her like just get like against Arsenal, just getting down the wing. But then Kirsty Smith, I've seen her in games at LSV. She's literally up alongside Leah Galton too, and I'm like, I'll probably just give the nod to Hannah. I just think, yeah, I just have the midfield. Definitely Zellerman, Lad. This is where it gets a bit more tricky for me. Who do I choose? Definitely Russo and Tooney, but I don't know whether to play them as a front two. Whether just keep Tooney and Russo together up top, and then if I keep them as a front two, the other two I'd have
your wingers, yeah.
I'm just thinking, could Boa Risa play on the wing? I don't know. She likes to play.
She could cut in. I mean, she doesn't need to like take people out of one down the wing. She could play out wide to stretch the play, and then obviously come in and draw centre backs in that way. So she could have that kind of role.
So no, she said. Well, I think she said in a podcast. Was it a month ago, or maybe a couple of weeks ago? She said, "Oh, I'll play a 6, a number 8, a number 10." So I think you put her in a position she'll play.
Anyway,
so
wing.
Yeah, I was thinking. I think I might just put Boa Risa on. I don't know where to put on the other wing, Fuso, because I just think her pace is just every time she's on, she's literally just gets the ball and starts to run at the play. Even against Chelsea last week, I just think she's just picking up the ball and like trying to get United on the attack. So I might just give it to Fuso because I just want to see what more of it and see what what her potential actually can be. So I say it's very hard leaving out so many players, but it's a good choice to have for the women's team.
Yeah.
And
Matt, 3 different ones here on screen. Someone different. John find the comments a little bit different as well. Got a feeling yours might be slightly different. What are your thoughts, mate?
I think mine's just been picked already. Right there. Oh,
sorry,
John, done with these comments. Dear me, there's always one. Get rid of the popcorn for a minute. Here, that one. Exactly carbon copy of mine. Listen, I've been banging on about that formation to start off with since we got promoted. But I just think it's better. Like, there's obviously been times where we may have needed to have 2 CDMs. Obviously, we've all spoke differently on players and formations and things. And I can imagine Mark sits down on a whatever day, Friday afternoon or a Saturday morning, and probably has exactly the same headache as us. But I like that. I just feel the back 4 there, if everybody's fit, that's secure. You've got your Millie and Mannion partnership, which, to be fair, when Millie came back in from a dislocated or a broken kneecap, what she got against Leicester, that seemed to be the start of our run. And then when we built up a minute, she just looked better. Fullbacks probably don't need too much mentioning, although, as mentioned, Smithy probably had her best season with us in terms of consistency. Anyway, I think for me, she's another one that got hammered in the first 2 seasons. She's always been a decent player. She's just lacked consistency and sometimes fitness. So pleased with her as sort of a backup. Hayley, don't really need to speak on Hayley. If we don't have Hayley, we go to Pot. And then, Risa, Jackie in midfield. Obviously, Tooney as well. Is that 3 behind? And then Russo and Bruno. I just like 2 forwards. I just don't like isolated forwards. And obviously, I've mentioned to you plenty of times, John, I don't like Leslie out wide. So, yeah, I think it's literally a carbon copy of that same play, same formation for me. That's all I can say.
I think that formation does allow you to play some of your best players.
I think it just lets your fullbacks supply the width, which we do anyway. So to me, it just makes sense. The only issue I've maybe not thought of is, obviously people mentioned Bruin being new. Would that maybe be Leah alongside Leslie? Mm-hmm. Potentially. Otherwise, maybe it'd have to be a 5 in midfield.
Yeah.
But then that goes against my lone forward. So I'm not going to say that.
We spent the last 5 minutes or so discussing the fact that City lost the day after we got that point against Arsenal yesterday. So, a good result for us. I don't know what people are kind of hoping for at home. I think there might be some people in the fan base thinking that, let's go for the title. Let's hope for a draw maybe, and Chelsea drop points. But for me, if we finish third, that's a very successful season. So, for me, it was all about City dropping points. I was at the Villa game and we was looking on our phone to see if Reading would go above City. I can't remember if they have. I've got it down here somewhere. Yeah, so Reading, I believe, have gone above City now as well. No, sorry, it was Reading and West Ham. Obviously got the points against Villa as well. So City are dropping down that league. I've said from day one, even when City was having that bad patch, it was City that we've got to keep our eye on. Is this City that we've got to keep our eye on now, or is Spurs on the way back? Or Matt, start off with yourself, and we'll just go around the room here just regarding the top three race.
Yeah, I think I'll give some credit to Spurs. Obviously, the hammered Brighton. I was actually hoping for a draw out of that. Brighton seemed to be on a little bit of a wobble. I think they've drawn 1 and lost 4 now of the last 5 games, which has really surprised me. And they've kind of gone from looking like they were capable of finishing, sort of 4th, 5th, maybe 3rd at a very push, but they've dropped right down to 8th now. I think for me, Tottenham and Reading, like I said to you pre-show, Reading are on 5 wins now on the bounce with a game in hand. And we talked about that would put them level with us on points. I think the next game against City, and there's a lot of people talking about it, it's massive. Tottenham go to Birmingham. And then I think, funnily enough, Tottenham actually play Reading the week after that. So assuming that Tottenham are going to beat Birmingham, we could do with Tottenham Reading being a draw. Reading again, I think Reading go and play Brighton at the weekend. I think that's away. So tricky tie. But again, and then after that, they've got Arsenal as well to fit in there as that game in hand. So I think for me, City, Reading, Spurs are the 3 to look out for. I'm going to put West Ham just on the outside for now. But I think, like you, John, I was more happy Chelsea winning. I know a lot of people said draw, but I think a draw doesn't really do us favours. I'd rather, listen, I don't think in my mind we're going to win the league. Other people have said it, that's fine. But I think for me, I'm happy creating a bigger gap between 3rd and everybody else, knowing that if we do potentially slip up in the next few weeks, and I'll include sort of the March games in that when we've got to go to Reading and West Ham, then we've got a little bit of a cushion. So I think for me, just Spurs and Reading really to watch out for, and an outside chance of City depending on what happens at the derby. It was interesting. I think I read, and I can't remember if it was Molly Hudson or someone else, one of the journalists said if City lose against us, you can pretty much potentially rule them out of the sort of the top 3, which I thought was interesting. So we'll discuss that, but I'll let others come in on it.
John, the league as it stands, the top 6, only Chelsea have played 12, everybody else has played 13, but Arsenal at the top with 30 points, Chelsea on 28, ourselves on 25, Spurs 24, Reading 22, and City on 20. So obviously City 5 points behind us on equal amount of games, Reading 3 points behind us, same amount of games, and Spurs just 1 point behind us. How does that make you feel, John, knowing that we could make that top 3?
Oh, it's a fantastic feeling, and I think if it wasn't for our bad luck last season, I mentioned on the Friday show week before last that I think the lack of a crowd last season maybe results in us not finishing in the top 3 because we didn't give. Because I think we would have given the girls a G up to try and push harder when they were in unfortunately bad form. And I think having a crowd will obviously we've got the best support in the WSL, and I think we'll give the girls that extra 10% in a game, to push for the results and everything. And I think that it makes a huge difference with the positive results against Arsenal and that kind of thing. And and we've only lost 2 games in the WSL as well. And I think in regards to the top 3 race, in regards to, I think probably you say City are still most dangerous in terms of their squad depth and everything. I think we'll be able to say who our main challengers are after the games on this weekend coming up. I think if City beat us, they'll be back in the race. I think if we can get a positive result, whether it's we love a win, but even if it's a draw, I think we'd be in good contention, and it might be between us and Tottenham then. And but I personally think if we get a positive result against City, I personally think we will finish in the top 3 personally, and there's plenty of games to come. City can't afford. I mean, for City to get in the top 3, they have to virtually win every game. I think to stand a chance. I think, or maybe slip up once, but 5 points is a large gap, and if we were to win it becomes 8 points, I can't see them catching us from that point. So, hopefully we can get a positive result on Sunday, and we'll obviously take it from there. But yeah, at this moment we're in a great position, I think, and hopefully long may continue.
Yeah, and they just finished off with yourself. I think that's a good point that TJ makes on screen. I think I put a few of TJ's comments on screen tonight, but I think he's right. It's not just about United. I mean, imagine how City must be feeling if they lose against us. The pressure's on their manager, I'm sure. But let's just finish the show talking about ourselves, Andy. What are your thoughts on this top 3 race now?
I think we're well in the top 3 race. I mean, if we were to we beat City, I think it's a big statement. We'd say, well, we're here for the top 3. I wouldn't rule. I'm not saying it would rule City out, but with their squad, that you can't rule out their team going on a run. But we've just got to concentrate on what we're doing and maintaining our form. And as long as we don't get any major injuries, that's why before, like with the transfer windows, like all those last minute deals, I thought if we hadn't have got anybody, I was thinking I would have been a little bit concerned. But now we've got those 3 players, and it's just added that more squad depth to the squad as well. But I think the interesting team for me is Reading. I'm just like, if they're only 3 points, if they win, because we played 13, they've only played 12. If they win their game in hand, they're like level, but we've got a better goal difference. So, and I think Matt said they're playing Tottenham. I mean, if Reading were to get a result over Tottenham, it's going to make our game away to Reading even more of an interesting battle. So, but it's like with Spurs, I think they don't tend to score that many goals. So I think when we was hearing there was was it 3-4-0 up there, and they won yesterday, I was like, oh, they scored that many goals. Like, they don't usually score that many. So, but I think Reading's the one. I think we might have to keep our eye on. So we say if we can just go there and beat them, then I think we're just going to easily. Well, I think we're going to be securing that top 3 place. But I know Arsenal and Chelsea are playing each other this weekend. But I'm just depending on that game. I just think we've got an outside chance, maybe nicking the league from either one of them. But I mean, mathematically, it's still possible. So I say I'm an optimist, so I live in hope. So we might just be able to. I say United are always best. Like even on the men's side, we always say we always like to be the ones chasing the teams in front. So and come from behind, and then just say take it at the end. So I'd say I'd love to see it happen if we was going to Chelsea and it was like all riding on that if we had the title riding on it. But I'd be very happy with the Champions League as well, because it shows the progress that we've made under Skinner this season as well.
Just finish the show yourself then, Matt. Just pick up on that comment on screen, then just give us a bit of a rundown what to expect on the channel for the rest of the week, mate.
Do you want me to answer the question on screen and then give a rundown?
Yeah.
Just checking. I think go for the win. You have to, don't you? I mean, listen, we beat them in the Conti Cup and we drew in the league. Conti Cup, to be fair, I mean, I think it was Reese that made a mistake and we gifted him a goal. Apart from that, they didn't look like troubling us. And I think the league as well, obviously, we drew 2-2. They had 10 players and it probably lifted them having 10, but I still think that we had chances in that game to win it. So I think we've got to go from the win. Listen, they're not invisible. They are beatable. They're on a bit of a tricky season. Yes, they're still missing a couple of key players, but listen, let's go there. Like I said earlier, I think if we beat them, I think they can pretty much kiss top 3 goodbye. I put in our little private chat, they've got to play Reading twice and they've got to play, I think I said Spurs. So, I don't think, like was mentioned before, they've got to win every single game for me after, well, even now, to be fair. So I don't think that they'll do that. So let's go there and get a win, really sort of put the sword to them. All their fans was, oh, yeah, we won't be dropping out the top 3. It'll be Arsenal, it'll be whatever. And it's like, well, actually, it's going to be used and tough. So that will be funny. I'd love that. I'd just be absolutely brilliant. And then they can stop banging on now about you've never been Champions League. I'd love that more than anything else. In terms of rest of the week, tomorrow, a good friend of yours, John, Hannah Fryer, who plays for Fylde, she's on the show chatting about her career. She actually played with Tooney at Blackburn, so that'll be good. There's a little bit we can sort of, listen to there. She played in Germany as well, so Yeah, that would be good.
Man United fan as well.
Man United fan as well. Yeah, goes to Old Trafford as well. For those that I don't know where she sits, but for those that may think, oh, she's familiar, she does actually go every game. So that'll be that. So it'll be good. I think Wednesday we've got Natalie's show as well. You're obviously Thursday with Reese Land and Rich Laverty. Friday we've got Anthony's predictions and fans forum. And Saturday me and Ben are doing a derby preview. So busy week. And Sunday's game day.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, and thank you to everybody in the comments. Great comments today. You know, sometimes I look at the comments and I really want to interact with them, but I just haven't got time to fit everything in as well. But I want to give the guys on screen a bit of airtime as well. But John, nice to do our first show together. Really appreciate you coming on. Really happy that you're enjoying supporting the women's team there as well, not just the men's. So great to see you on the show. If anybody wants to find you or want to chat to you about Man United in general, have you got any socials that you want to shout out?
Yes, my Twitter name is at John_Kermode, KERMODE, and the number 2 on the end. So, and thanks for having me on again, and I've really enjoyed the show.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, no problem at all, mate. And Mark's in the comments there as well. Nice one, Mark. Great to see you again on Sunday, just gone as well at the Villa game. Andrew, if anyone wants to give you a shout out on Twitter or find you on Twitter, how can they go about doing that?
Yeah, they can follow me, Andrew_Wall.
Cool. Matt, yourself?
Yeah, on screen. I think everybody knows mine anyway, John. It's that way even.
Yeah.
You should do. I've been on long enough now, but yeah, if they want to, it's there.
Awesome. Excellent. All right, then, guys. Thank you for a fantastic show. Really enjoyed that one. Thank you to everybody in the comments. Please share it if you've enjoyed it. And we shall see you again